The light is truly divine this hour.
It highlights the gardens splendidly.
Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi miserere nobis.
El mejor mazapán de la ciudad.
Probemos un poco, querido. Los músicos son excelentes.
Close your eyes and imagine stepping through a doorway into the year 1650. The scent of orange blossoms fills the warm Andalusian air. Church bells echo across terracotta rooftops that stretch to the horizon. And before you rises the most magnificent city in the Spanish Empire. This is Seville at the height of its golden age. For 150 years, every ounce of silver from the Americas, every precious gem from the Philippines, every exotic spice from the Indies has flowed through these ancient streets. But Seville isn't just wealthy, it's otherworldly beautiful. Picture walking through streets where Moorish palaces stand beside Gothic cathedrals, where Roman ruins support Renaissance mansions, where Islamic gardens bloom within Christian monasteries. This is a city where 800 years of civilizations have layered upon each other, creating something that exists nowhere else on earth. In the narrow cobblestone alleys of the Santa Cruz Quarter, life unfolds like a living tapestry. Imagine the sound of horse hooves on ancient stones as Spanish grandees in black velvet ride to morning mass. The melodic calls of water sellers echoing off whitewashed walls, the gentle splash of fountains in hidden courtyards where orange trees cast cooling shadows. This is where East meets West, where Christian Spain embraces its Moorish soul. Follow me to the banks of the Guadalquivir River, where the real magic happens. Here, Spanish galleons arrive weekly from the New World, their holds bursting with treasure that will transform Europe forever. Picture massive ships with billowing sails, their wooden hulls heavy with Aztec gold and Inca silver. But these aren't just trade ships. They're floating dreams, carrying the wealth of entire civilizations. Step with me through the gates of the Royal Alcazar, where Spanish kings live surrounded by the most exquisite Islamic architecture in Europe. Imagine walking through halls where every surface tells a story. Intricate geometric patterns that seem to move in candlelight, courtyards where the sound of water creates natural music, gardens where the scent of jasmine and roses perfumes the evening air. This is paradise made real through human artistry. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepares you for Seville Cathedral. Picture standing before the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, its spires reaching toward heaven like stone prayers. Inside, golden altarpieces stretch 5 stories high, their carved saints seeming to come alive in flickering candlelight. And at the center lies the tomb of Christopher Columbus himself, the man who opened the New World to Spanish dreams. Cross the ancient Roman bridge to Triana, where Seville's soul lives in its pottery workshops and flamenco courtyards. Here master craftsmen shape clay with techniques perfected over centuries, their wheels spinning as they create the ceramic tiles that decorate palaces throughout the Spanish Empire. In hidden patios, guitars strum ancient melodies while dancers in swirling skirts tell stories older than memory. This is where art isn't just created, it's lived. In the merchant quarter near the cathedral, the wealth of the world flows like a golden river. Imagine Italian silk merchants displaying fabrics that shimmer like captured sunlight. Flemish traders offering paintings so realistic you could step into them. Portuguese spice dealers whose small bags contain the essence of distant islands. Every street corner holds treasures that kings would fight wars to possess. But the true heart of Seville's power lies in the Casa de Contratación, the House of Trade. Here, Spanish officials control every ship that sails to the Americas, every cargo that returns to Europe, every soul who dreams of seeking fortune in the New World. Picture vast halls filled with maps showing sea routes to undiscovered lands, ledgers recording transactions that could bankrupt kingdoms, and officials whose decisions shape the fate of continents. This single building controls more wealth than entire European nations. Follow me into the palaces where Spanish nobility live like Renaissance princes, surrounded by Moorish splendor. Imagine courtyards where orange trees grow beside marble fountains, where evening concerts feature music from 4 different continents, where dinner conversations casually mention estates in Peru and Mexico as if they were neighboring villages. These aren't just homes, they're worlds unto themselves. But perhaps nothing captures Seville's spirit like its religious processions during Holy Week. Picture the entire city transformed into a moving work of art. Massive floats carrying carved saints seem to float through narrow streets lit by thousands of candles. The air fills with incense and the haunting melodies of satyrs, spontaneous prayers sung from balconies draped in silk. This is faith made visible, devotion transformed into pure beauty. Climb with me to the top of the Giralda, the ancient Moorish minaret, transformed into a Christian bell tower. From here, all of Seville spreads below like a jeweled carpet. Terracotta rooftops catch the golden Andalusian light. Church spires pierce the sky like delicate needles, and the Guadalquivir River curves through the city like a silver ribbon, connecting this magical place to the wider world. You're standing at the center of the first global empire in human history. In the workshops of the Alcaceria, master weavers create silk that adorns royalty throughout Europe. Watch their fingers dance across looms as they create patterns that blend Islamic geometry with Christian symbolism. The silk catches light like captured starbeams, each thread representing techniques passed down through generations of artisans who consider their craft a form of prayer. Beauty here isn't just appreciated, it's worshipped. In the Grand Plaza de Armas, all of Seville's magnificence comes together. Imagine noble carriages arriving for evening promenades, their occupants dressed in silks from China and velvets from Italy. Street musicians play while vendors offer delicacies from across the Spanish Empire. Children chase through fountains while their parents conduct business that spans continents. This is cosmopolitan sophistication centuries before the word existed. Hidden beneath the city, ancient Moorish baths still provide refuge from Seville's summer heat. Picture stepping into chambers where geometric patterns create optical illusions in the steam. The sound of flowing water mingles with quiet conversation in Arabic, Latin, and Castilian. Here, Christian merchants relax alongside converted Moors, sharing a luxury that transcends religious differences. In these spaces, the boundaries between civilizations dissolve. Behind high walls, monastery gardens offer islands of tranquility in this bustling metropolis. Imagine walking through cloisters where orange and lemon trees create natural cathedrals. Monks tend gardens that produce not just food but medicines, dyes and perfumes that supply the royal court. The only sounds are birdsong and the gentle splash of ancient fountains. Here, time moves at the pace of growing things and whispered prayers. In the taverns of Triana, something extraordinary is happening. The birth of flamenco. Picture intimate gatherings where gitanos blend Moorish melodies with Christian passion and Jewish lament. Guitars speak languages that words cannot express. Dancers move like flames given human form. This isn't just entertainment, it's the soul of Andalusia, finding its voice. You're witnessing the creation of an art form that will echo through centuries. Along the river, the royal shipyards represent the cutting edge of maritime technology. Watch master shipwrights craft galleons that will carry Spanish dreams to the Philippines, Peru, and beyond. Each vessel is a floating city designed to traverse oceans that maps can barely imagine. The sound of hammers on wood mingles with the dreams of sailors preparing for voyages to the edge of the known world. These workshops aren't just building ships, they're constructing the future. At the University of Seville, scholars debate ideas that will reshape human understanding. Imagine lecture halls where professors discuss navigation techniques that make global exploration possible, where students study maps of stars that guide ships across trackless oceans, where libraries contain the accumulated wisdom of Islamic, Christian, and New World civilizations. This is where knowledge becomes the engine of empire. In Seville's markets, the old Silk Road finds its western terminus. Picture merchants displaying goods that have traveled from China through Central Asia, across the Mediterranean, And finally to these Andalusian streets. Porcelain, that seems too delicate to have survived such a journey, sits beside spices that carry the essence of tropical islands no European has ever seen. Every transaction connects Seville to the uttermost corners of the earth. In the shadow of the Inquisition, Seville's converso community navigates between worlds. Families who converted from Judaism to Christianity generations ago maintain traditions that blend seamlessly with Iberian customs. Their homes feature Christian artwork alongside symbolic decorations that speak to older faiths. They contribute to Seville's prosperity while carefully maintaining the delicate balance required for survival. This is integration born of necessity, but flowering into genuine cultural synthesis. Throughout the city, Mudéjar architecture demonstrates how different cultures can create something more beautiful together than separately. Observe how Islamic geometric patterns frame Christian religious scenes, how Moorish courtyards provide settings for Spanish social life, how ancient Roman foundations support Gothic spires topped with Islamic-inspired decorations. Seville proves that cultural fusion creates strength, not weakness. The Torre del Oro, the Golden Tower, stands sentinel over the Guadalquivir, protecting the wealth that flows through Seville. This isn't just a military fortification, it's a symbol of Spain's ability to defend the treasures of the world. Picture the great chain that stretches across the river when enemy ships approach, guards watching from windows that command views of approaching vessels, and the golden glow that gives the tower its name, catching the last light of each day. Security and beauty united in perfect harmony. At Europe's first tobacco factory, Seville processes the new luxury that will captivate the continent. Watch workers carefully preparing leaves imported from Virginia and Cuba, their hands moving with practiced precision as they create products that European nobility will treasure above gold. The sweet, earthy scent fills the air as another New World wonder becomes part of Old World luxury. Innovation here transforms curiosity into commerce. The Hospital de la Caridad represents the spiritual heart of this material paradise. Picture halls where the wealthy merchants who profit from global trade care for the poorest members of society. Paintings by Murillo and Valdés Leal remind visitors that earthly riches are temporary, while acts of mercy create treasures that last forever. Even in paradise, Seville remembers its soul. As the Andalusian sun sets, the evening paseo transforms Seville's streets into theatres of elegance. Imagine families dressed in their finest clothing taking leisurely walks through jasmine-scented streets. Conversations flow between Castilian, Arabic and Latin as this cosmopolitan society displays its sophisticated charm. Musicians provide soundtrack to social rituals that turn daily life into performance art. This is society as aesthetic experience. In the Plaza de San Francisco, Spanish colonial administration demonstrates its sophisticated bureaucracy. Picture the constant flow of officials managing an empire that spans 4 continents, their decisions affecting millions of people they'll never meet. Letters arrive carrying news from Manila, Mexico City, and Lima, while responses depart that will shape events in places most Europeans can't even imagine. From this square, Spanish law reaches literally around the world. The Archivo de Indias preserves the paper trail of empire. Imagine vast halls filled with documents recording every aspect of Spanish colonial administration, maps of uncharted territories, records of treasure shipments, correspondence between conquistadors and kings, testimonies from indigenous peoples describing worlds Europeans are only beginning to understand. This isn't just bureaucracy. It's the written memory of global transformation. In the labyrinthine streets of Santa Cruz, Seville reveals its most intimate secrets. Follow narrow alleys that suddenly open onto hidden plazas where fountains sing ancient songs. Discover doorways that lead to courtyards where time seems suspended between centuries. Here, the public grandeur of empire yields to the private poetry of daily life. Every turn reveals another layer of accumulated beauty. Inside the cathedral, the sound of choral music transforms stone into heaven. Picture voices rising toward Gothic vaults that seem to reach infinity itself. The music blends Gregorian chant with melodies influenced by Islamic modes, creating harmonies that reflect Seville's multicultural soul. Light streams through stained glass windows depicting saints whose stories span continents and centuries. This is prayer made audible, faith transformed into pure sound. At the Alameda de Hercules, Seville creates Europe's first planned public promenade. Watch as citizens from every level of society gather beneath rows of elms planted to provide shade and beauty. Street performers entertain while vendors sell refreshments from across the Spanish Empire. Children play while their parents discuss business that connects Seville to Manila and Mexico City. Public space designed for public joy, a revolutionary concept. The Silk Exchange demonstrates how beauty and business can enhance each other. Picture merchants conducting transactions worth royal ransoms while surrounded by architectural details that rival any palace. Deals struck here affect silk production from Valencia to the Philippines, connecting Seville's aesthetic appreciation with global economic networks. Commerce elevated to art form. Throughout Seville, whitewashed walls demonstrate perfect adaptation to climate and culture. These aren't just practical solutions to Andalusian heat. They're aesthetic choices that create the clean, bright backdrop against which the city's colorful life unfolds. Orange trees appear more vivid against white walls. Shadows create more dramatic contrasts. Human figures become more striking in this architectural theater. Function and beauty, achieving perfect unity. In workshops throughout the city, craftsmen's guilds maintain traditions while embracing innovation. Watch silversmiths create pieces that will adorn churches from Seville to Santiago de Chile. Observe carpenters building furniture that blends European techniques with New World materials. These artisans aren't just preserving the past, they're adapting it for a global future. Tradition becomes the foundation for innovation rather than its obstacle. Along the Guadalquivir, the rhythm of river life creates Seville's heartbeat. Fishermen cast nets that have fed the city for millennia, while treasure ships discharge cargoes that will feed European dreams for centuries to come. Washerwomen sing ancient songs while their children play games that blend Islamic, Christian and Roman traditions. Past, present and future, flowing together like the river itself. Behind convent walls, religious life provides counterpoint to Seville's material splendor. Picture nuns creating artistic treasures, illuminated manuscripts, embroidered vestments, confections that taste like sweetened prayers. Their cloistered life doesn't reject the world's beauty, but concentrates it into forms that point toward eternity. Contemplation and creation joined in perfect balance. As evening approaches, Seville's golden hour reveals why this city captured the world's imagination. The warm Andalusian light turns every surface into burnished gold. Church bells create symphony from across the city's many towers. The scent of orange blossoms mingles with the promise of evening jasmine. Citizens gather in plazas and courtyards for conversations that will continue until stars appear. This is the daily miracle of light and life, in perfect harmony. What makes Seville extraordinary isn't just its wealth or beauty, it's how successfully different cultures have blended into something entirely new. Here, Islamic geometric patterns frame Christian religious scenes. Moorish architectural techniques create spaces for Spanish social life. Jewish intellectual traditions contribute to Christian scholarship. New World materials build European dreams. This is proof that diversity creates strength when guided by wisdom and respect. Standing in any plaza in Seville at twilight, you understand why this city became the gateway between worlds. It's not just geography that made Seville the conduit for Spanish Empire. It's the city's ability to transform wealth into beauty, diversity into harmony, ambition into art. Here, the practical and the poetic achieve perfect balance. Seville proves that human civilization reaches its peak when it embraces both prosperity and beauty. Today you can still walk through Seville and glimpse the shadows of its golden age. The Alcázar still whispers with Islamic elegance. The cathedral still soars toward Christian heaven. The narrow streets of Santa Cruz still open onto unexpected courtyards, where orange trees perfume the air and fountains sing eternal songs. But in 1650, this wasn't history. It was the living center of the world's first global civilization. Imagine walking these streets when every day brought news from undiscovered lands, when every ship carried treasures no European had ever imagined, when this single city controlled the wealth of continents and the dreams of nations. You're experiencing the golden hour of Spanish Empire, when Seville stood at the crossroads of human possibility and showed the world what beauty could accomplish when it married wealth to wisdom. The sun has set on Spanish Empire, but it never sets on beauty created with love and sustained by hope. That's all for our journey through Golden Seville. If there's another moment when human civilization created paradise on Earth, another city where cultures blended into something more beautiful than any achieved alone, let me know in the comments. Because Seville's lesson isn't about empire or wealth. It's about how human beings can create beauty that transcends time when they choose cooperation over conquest, synthesis over separation. The treasures went to Madrid. The empire faded into memory, but the beauty remains eternal.